Welcome to the Heroic Roundtable, the recap show where we don't just revisit the latest episode of Heroic Round. We pull up our chairs, share our snacks, and dive into the deeper side of tabletop storytelling. Around this table, we talk character arcs, game choices, and the wild magic of 35-year friendships. Whether you're here for a laugh, looking to level up your game, or just curious how we wrangle the chaos at the table, we're glad you're here. This isn't just a recap, this is the Heroic Roundtable. Okay, I want to jump right into the listener questions this time. So, listener Crits Before Wits has a question for you, Mac Daddy.
Ah, crap.
I know you hate being asked questions, but I think you'll like this one. You've mentioned Dice Prison a few times. What is it?
Dice Prison is, okay, so a prime example, Chad hates when I roll dice, but I got to warm him up. So if I'm going to take this D20, I'm going to roll it, natural 20, not Dice Prison. But if it was, it gets set aside, often put back in its little Chessex case and like cast out, and maybe I'll give it a chance in a few months. However, there is something worse than Dice Prison.
Exile?
It's Exile. And I've only ever exiled one die.
I remember that.
It was a D&D holiday, and I rolled, 3 fumbles in a row or something absolutely unbelievable like that. Stepped out on the patio, middle of the night, and chucked it into a field. It's gone.
You chucked it to the moon. I saw how hard you threw it. You yeeted it to the moon.
Yeah.
Question. What's the cutoff to not be in Dice Prison? Because you just actually rolled a natural 20.
Yeah.
But like, do you just keep rolling until it's a 20 and then it's not in Dice Prison? Or like, what's the cutoff? Do you know what I mean?
No, it's a vibe check. You know, is the die, what's the die giving?
It's a heat check for the die.
Yeah. It like, I'm like, these are low. These are bad. I'm gonna have to cool this. I'm gonna have to put it on
the bench.
Yeah.
This is good to know, because my understanding was that if you had never heard about D&D, you automatically went to Dice Prison. And then later, once you first heard about D&D, then you could accept it or not.
Yeah.
And then you would then you wouldn't have to be in Dice Prison. You could go to Dice Paradise.
So once you accepted D&D, you can leave Dice Prison?
Yeah, apparently, allegedly.
But you don't get to go into the highest kingdom. You get the middle
D&D
one.
Missionaries, yeah.
You have to start with 4th edition.
There's like 6 people
No,
that
you
will
have
get
to-
that joke.
You have to start with D&D Beyond.
If you got that joke I just made, if you message us or email us at heroicround@gmail.com,
Free stickers.
we will send you 5 free stickers.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Okay. Thank you for explaining Dice Prison. I can't believe after all these years that I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah,
I heard you mention it myself. And I was like, I don't know. Dice Prison is something. It's a mini game that he plays.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so this one is for LS. It's from user Undead Inside _420. Blaze it, Uncle Blazer. It says, it seems like some NPCs you immediately love and some NPCs you immediately hate. Why?
It's probably because I'm bipolar. Type 1. But no, and no disrespect to people that are. It kind of depends on when they fall in, or like where they fall into the story and what's happening, and if they immediately try to like cock block me. Like a good example would be
Landon Thorne.
Right, Landon Thorne, where he was putting out bad vibes and I just wasn't having it. But he's grown on me, and he's probably one of the best NPCs. He's, if not the best NPC of this campaign so far. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to start over? Or do you want to finish your TikTok before I...
No phones at the table,
Yeah.
bitch.
I left my iPad at home. So.
Oh, it's your character. I see.
it is now.
That's a cool tip for everybody.
It is now.
Have your
Guess what
character pulled up so that
Guess where my
you get
character
busted.
is? On pen and paper.
Okay,
What happens when you leave
poor
that at
kid. Just joking.
So if you're not
Shit,
one
I'm
of the
sorry.
pores,
That was.
I also
that was
prefer.
crude. I'm
I
just
also
kidding.
prefer a paper. It's a TTRPG.
What I'm going to say about Brandon's NPC obsession.
Yeah, you didn't even get to finish your thought.
I definitely didn't, but let's let Zach go
Okay,
before
Zach,
I
you go.
finish.
I don't mean
Say
to.
what you're
I-
gonna
I
say
thought
about
you
your
were-
No, it's okay. It's before we were rudely interrupted by.
yeah, that guy's
John's-
I
Yeah.
hope it was
Yeah.
our TikTok channel. I hope that view.
It
counted
definitely
for
Go
us.
was.
ahead.
Yeah.
No, really, go ahead.
What I will say, in retrospect, Brandon, I will say, out of all of our players, fosters the most out of our NPCs.
Disagree, I do. Hot take me.
Really?
Just kidding.
I think that Brandon likes to interact, and I think the way that he comes at him very hot or very cold. facilitates character growth in the NPCs.
That's true.
Satius the Gracious, Wednesday.
Oh, dude.
Like, there's a bunch of NPCs.
Agatha.
Okay, now that I hear you, I agree with you because Brandon is always polarizing for NPCs.
Yes.
So he elicits an emotional response. So we
And
learn more about the character.
That gives you something to play off of.
I gather info.
Yeah, but I would argue, though, that Zach always comes out aggressive.
Oh,
Like
it's always
every
bully.
NPC that I bring to Zach, it doesn't matter if it's a little kid on the street or it's the lord of the land. Zach will talk to them like they are beneath him, and he's gonna get there like he's gonna push them. You know what I mean?
Is that just? I think that's more Flavius's jam.
Remember when you threw a rock at a little kid in a campaign?
He probably deserved it.
That's right.
Case in point, right there. Case in point.
Uh-huh.
So
Is
back
it
to your
and
point about.
case and point or
Well,
case
I'm
in
interested.
point?
Like,
Oh.
what NPCs then do you like then? The ones
Wednesday?
that like make you feel powerful and important.
No, it depends on where they come at in the story. Like if you come at me with like a bad energy, I'm gonna throw it back. Right?
I
Was
thought
that directed
Yeah,
right at
dude.
Chad?
It was.
No, I was throwing it back
after. That was for
for
after the
Chad,
session.
yeah.
It was something different.
That's dad
That's for
stuff.
after stuff.
But yeah, it just depends on like in life. Like if somebody is an asshole to me when I first meet them, like I'm not going to be.
Or they drive like an idiot.
Or if they drive like an idiot.
Oh boy.
It's more like if they drive different than how I drive, because
That's right.
everybody knows the only correct way to drive is exactly how you drive.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
He flipped a dude off for me on the way here.
Did I?
Yeah.
You have road rage blindness. You don't even realize.
I can't even
It was the
remember.
truck. You remember the truck?
Yeah, I didn't flip him off.
I thought you did.
No, I felt like it. I just said some colorful words.
Pal. Sorry.
Hey, pal.
I heard
Hey,
that. I
jerk.
heard that buddy is a word that white guys reserve for other white guys that they hate. All right, buddy. Cool it, buddy.
Cool it, buddy.
Cool it.
Listen up, buddy.
But yeah, because it's more, it makes it more interesting, right? Like even like in the last campaign, and I can't remember her name,
How dare you?
but I set up a tea date with her,
Oh yeah.
and then she betrayed us.
I can't remember her name either. Dang it. How dare
Okay.
me?
I feel less bad then.
Uh-huh.
But it
was a trap though.
it
It was
was-
a tea trap.
it was it was a trap.
So tell us more about how you hate when people forget NPC names.
Dude, I'm allowed because they're my NPC.
Okay.
Yeah, he owns them.
400 to remember. We have.
Um,
And a lot of people agreed with me on
yeah.
that.
To be fair, it's not a campaign we're currently
fair.
playing.
Uh-huh.
right.
That's true.
And so it's okay. I'm allowed a little bit of grace
Uh-huh.
on this one. But yeah, it makes it more fun. It makes it like seem more real, right? Because it's not just the interactions that you have that are very like it makes it to me feel like it's not a pick list of like here are my options of how I can respond to a character. Like in an RPG.
It's cool. Thank you, LS. Appreciate it. So, another question coming in for Flavius. This one's from Shiver Me Timberlands. Shout out to Timberlands. You remember those bad boys? There's tension in my group of players around who the leader is. What should I do?
Ah!
I don't know if this is the right question for Flavius. Just kidding.
Um,
Maybe it's perfect.
Back to my music.
John's going to put on his music because he's not going to want to hear this.
He doesn't want to hear it.
I think in every group, there's always going to be someone who wants to push.
What do you mean by push?
Push things forward, have things go their way.
Okay.
Because you can do that in the right way and the wrong way. If it's really becoming a problem that they're pushing things, I think you have a couple of options that if it's derailing the campaign and it's creating conflict in game and outside of game, I think it's up to the DM to really like pull him aside and figure out what's going on. Like, is there something that he's wanting to do that he's not going to do? And then also you have to look at what the other players are doing. If everybody's super duper passive and nothing gets done unless quote unquote a leader steps up to do actions, then that's like a different conversation. Because I think there's a way to lead a group forward, but also invite other players to contribute. And that
Cool.
takes a little bit of emotional intelligence and a little bit of humility to step back and be like, okay, I've kind of been pushing things forward. I've been leading conversations with NPCs. I've been interacting with the DM. I'm going to step back and say or do things to invite a player to do something else. Literally in game, just to be like, hey, what do you think we should do in this situation? give them an option, right? I see that a lot of times if you're more of a veteran player playing with newer players, it's easy to then be the leader. But I think a good veteran player finds opportunities to push those who don't have the experience into leadership.
It's cool. What do you guys think?
I've been
You guys have any
waiting
thoughts?
pert near 20 years for that
Hurt
push.
your-
Just
hurt your-
kidding. Just kidding.
For me, there's it can be difficult because there are skills, right, that call out how good you are at speaking to characters, right? Like your diplomacy or your bluff or whatever. And so especially when you have like two like party faces, like two charismatic characters in a campaign, it can definitely be competing. I think for us, like in our group in particular, we all are a little more like act out how we're going to say, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but what we say in addition, like, can be a modifier and give us a better result in our like diplomacy checks, depending on how well we like role play that piece.
Yes,
Um,
massively.
Which is rough if in real life you have a low charisma score.
Which none of us have.
Which isn't a problem that this group has.
right, and it also doesn't have,
Look at the charisma right now you're using.
look at that
Kenneth
Riz.
cut in on him.
Look at that Riz. But so it can be
Call him the Wizard of Oz.
hey, where's that from?
Oh, you son of a bitch. I knew
It
you
was
were
really
gonna
good. I'm
say
sorry.
it.
It was really good.
I knew you were going to
You
say it.
stuttered stepped into that.
I
It
did,
didn't
I did.
land because you
Uh-huh.
appreciated it even before you tried to downplay
Mhm.
Chad.
Because it was too good.
I know.
You're like, God dang it.
But with the idea that there can be multiple people that have high charismas or have high diplomacies or whatever, unless there's like a specific call out, no one is like a party, like the party leader that makes the decisions for the whole party every time. So you just have to have like Zach was saying, that like emotional intelligence at the table to be like, well, is this a time when I would really step forward and be like, or my character would step forward and be like, no, I feel strongly about this, or we need to do this. So it's a give and take.
Mhm.
And as you play with different people and different groups, like that dynamic changes, and it really is dependent on the group. So, and like Zach said, veterans or people that have done it more or enjoy like the role playing aspect more might fall like more into the camp of being more boisterous or outspoken on things. But it is kind of a give and take, and you kind of have to feel it out as you go, which can suck, but it's also
Yeah.
good for real life and conflict resolution.
I like that. Anything you add?
I think a good approach is, rather than trying to wrangle the game in-game through the charisma angle, you can do it through heroics, right? So in combat or in other situations, like you're like, if you're feeling that tension in the group and the leadership dynamic is kind of up in the air, it's like there are other ways to step up as a leader, right? More than just like talking to NPCs. And I think
Oh, I like
live
that.
heroic, die historic, right?
Hell yeah.
Take a gamble, step forward.
Cool.
Gosh,
That's a really good point.
I like that.
What do you do as a
Well
DM,
said.
Chad?
Well said. Man, what do I do as a DM? I am so conflict averse in general as a person that I kind of get uncomfortable and go, ugh, when there's like leadership tension, you know? But I do try to make, one of the things I actually consciously do with every player is try to create hooks and opportunities for them to own and to lead out. Now, it doesn't mean that every player will take those and like run with them, but knowing what I know about the player themselves, about their character, about the interests that they have in the game, I try to put at a regular basis something for them. And I think that's important, because if you plan everything agnostic of your players, because I will say this, let me backstep a little. It's important for a DM to plan something they feel passionate about and enjoy, because then that passion comes through in their storytelling and what they're doing at the table. And it's equally important to create something for the players to enjoy. You can't just do it one-sided, I think, or else you'll have a really lopsided experience that will not necessarily keep your players engaged or feeling good. So whether it allows a player to step up and be a leader over the whole group, I hope that you're creating opportunities as a DM, or I hope to create opportunities as a DM where everyone feels like they can lead out or own something in the campaign that's theirs. Cool. All right. Another question. This one is more from me, just thinking through TTRPG stuff. And this has been on my mind for a little bit, so I want to ask this question to the group. How important is pacing in a TTRPG, and how do you know you've got the right tempo for the story?
I think it's super important as a player if you feel like it's a slog, like nothing's progressing or happening, or like, for example, and you don't do this because you're perfect, but like other DMs that don't have like the experience will be like, well, if they want to go from point A to point B, it's 2 weeks. And so they'll try and make it feel like you're traveling a lot and they're not breaking it up with good pacing elements.
Mhm.
And it feels like rough, and I get like it's disengaging. Like I'm like, I don't want to play this. Like if this was a video game, that I would want to skip this part. Like I just don't enjoy that. So I think it's super important to have it. But the second part of the question is, I don't know.
For me, pacing is kind of dependent on the group. And some people may enjoy, like, if you were to compare two books, right? Like Lord of the Rings has a lot of travel. The
Tree porn.
tree, yeah. Lots of bearding, tree bearding. But there is a lot of travel in that. And there's mechanics built into a lot of TTRPGs to address that and how to like flesh out your world while you're traveling. But I think it depends on the style of the DM and how, if they want to focus on those pieces, which can work, it just requires a little bit different approach. But as far as like moving the story forward, as long as there's some piece or some hook that's there to let you feel like you're still making progress, even if it's a side quest or whatever the case may be, or two characters that want to go, I don't know, like explore a bookshop, right? As long as the players are engaged, then the pacing can not be like a traditional, like what our pacing looks like. But as long as it works for the group and the DM, then I think it's okay. You just have to find again that balance of, that's a non-answer, but yeah.
Is that what you hate about looting?
Yes.
Pacing.
So that's what I was going to bring up right along with Brandon saying. It's hard because I think pacing is dependent on the campaign and the group expectations. I hate looting because I feel like it kills the pace, but I understand that other people really enjoy it. So I'm okay to take a back seat, right? There may be opportunities where people hate where I ask questions or investigate or try to talk to one more additional NPC. For other people, that might kill the pacing or combat, right? Like there's no pace if there's no combat. So I think that's a tough challenge for every DM and every group. And again, going back to it, like just communication, like, and kind of being okay if you're not doing your most favorite thing for 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to throw a stink about looting or rolling treasure because I'm the one person out of 6 people that
Loves romancing.
yeah, like that doing something like that. So I think pacing
Doing something.
I think pacing is a
lady.
bigger challenge for people who get annoyed by pacing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would say that something that Zach does that I just learned about in this campaign is so instead of just being annoyed by pacing for looting, which is ludicrous because it's one of the best parts.
Ludicrous.
But
it's ludicrous.
it's ludicrous.
Ludicrous?
Yes,
Dude,
absolutely.
That's a Juice Wizard flavor, man.
Screw you, Chris.
Ludicrous, and it's all treasure chests open on the can.
I
That's
love
super
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Orange ludicrous.
Crisp.
Oh.
No.
That works.
Only if it
Close
were
to-
Apple.
those are the crispy treats that come.
Or
along
we
with
call
the
it
side.
Fruit Loops.
Crisps.
Okay.
All right.
All
Sorry.
right. Kill the podcast.
Let's
Let's
go.
start.
Let's-
Yeah.
Let's go start our
Um,
product.
But
TikTok shop.
yes, check us out on our TikTok shop.
Mhm.
One thing that you do is you don't like the pacing that's going on with looting, so you write down all the items to try and speed that piece up. So
Mhm.
you're proactive in trying to pull us away from that piece, but not in a way that's
Not
It feel-
confrontational or
right.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel that you're pulling. You're not you're not being confrontational about it. You're not like bitching about it or anything like that. It's a way that you do that. Sometimes we don't ever see those items again, which is fine, right? It's just part of it. But it's a way that you're proactive that helps you manage like the pacing pieces that you don't really like, or where
Yeah.
you feel like there's bad pacing.
No, I agree. I think that's a good example of like, it's not my favorite thing, but I can make it go faster, right? Like, and if you don't write it down, then it doesn't exist. It exists for me, but not for you.
Well, I think something that comes up for me is sometimes I'll get the energy from the group like we're not getting there fast enough. And I think that the question always comes up for me in my mind is like, where's there? Like, what does that mean? Because all of the story is present
level
with
up.
me, all of the story is present with me at once. I don't have the same feeling of urgency.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that could be a hindrance because I don't have a sense of needing to rush or to move forward with whatever quest or piece that you're on. Cause I'm kind of like, ooh, let's like savor the nuance of all this, And I don't know that that's helpful. I think that's, if anything, I think it's led to frustration in some sessions, but it's interesting because sometimes I get the sense with the group, like I'm remembering the beginning of the Valley of Plenty sessions where you guys kind of hit the road, and it was like every session you were in a new place, like you were just traveling and going like super fast, and like you almost were like, I want to taste a little bit of every dish that this valley has to offer.
It was
not
2 days. It was
eat
2 days at
anything,
Disneyland.
Yeah, it was
Well,
like
I have
very,
to tell you this,
very
but
cool.
when you go to a buffet, you make a circle first. You
There
see
it
what
is.
there is before you start filling up your
You
plate.
scout it. I don't actually think it was bad from like a storytelling perspective, but I could tell it frustrated the group because there were so many quests in front of you.
Yeah.
Like it was a feeling of analysis paralysis because you had 15 different hooks all of a sudden, and you're like, which one do we even follow, And so I wonder in those moments, sometimes I wonder, do I need to exercise more restraint in the amount of hooks that I put on the table, even if you guys are pushing? Like what's the balance?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that feels interesting.
I think an element that comes into play with that example specifically is how often you're playing. Because if you're playing once every couple months, or I think in that case it had been like almost 2
year.
I'd
years.
been moved out of state for 2 years. It
Yeah,
was
it's
the first
true.
time we had been
And it was
together.
a dedicated, it was like a dedicated weekend to just play.
Right. So that really changed how our normal pacing had been.
Correct.
So
Also, I think I definitely like fast paced more than everyone else, and which is good because it makes my characters, I think, more keen on action.
You're like a secret people mover conveyor belt.
Thank you.
Sometimes we don't know that you're moving us, but you're moving us.
one set of footprints.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
And if it were just Chad and
I'm the Jesus of this group. I'm just kidding.
If it were just Chad and I, we would never leave any towns. I would just talk to every NPC and build deep, meaningful relationships.
That's right.
And
You'd start a farm.
Animal Crossing.
And
You'd
I'd
start a
settle.
farm,
I'd
yeah.
settle down with like a nice family, and that would be the end. And at the end, I would close my eyes on my deathbed, surrounded by my family that loves me.
That's right.
And that would be it.
That's why he actually
acres of
role
corn.
plays. That's so sad.
Oh my gosh, that is true. That's beautiful.
We're all
To
happily
feel
married with families, so
some of us happily. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Okay, cool. Thanks for going on that question for a minute. So the last thing, and I always skip this, so I wanted to ask if there's any questions for me that come up for you guys.
From
It's
us?
yeah. If you have any questions for me, then
having
we'll do them
fun?
right now. But if not,
I'm always interested of like, we've played a good amount of this campaign so far. We kind of wrapped up the first part, so to speak.
Mhm.
How do you end up repurposing things if you're planning and you're just like, because you made a mention that the Etten that we encountered, the merchant Etten was one of the first things you had planned and hope we would go do.
yeah.
Like, how do you go back and approach it if you have these things, or do you just plan in a way that like, as it goes, they're going to encounter it?
Yeah, that's a great question. There are certain things that are certain darlings that I love that I will definitely try to make sure you encounter, even if you choose to go down a different path. Like if you hadn't encountered, Grandma and Grandpa, these equipment shop Ettins, I'm sure I would have found some way to put them in your path in the future. I would have just been sad that it didn't happen sooner,
Yep.
So I do hold on to some things for repurposing, but I also have DM'd long enough where I don't feel so ick or sad about letting things not happen. You know, there's a lot that just
The
doesn't.
entire Castle Corbeau.
Yeah, like their entire Castle Corbeau. And it's also fun for me too, because how I DM, I kind of create this little moving machine. It's like a, what are those little machines called where you put in like a marble and then
The
it goes
Rube
down?
Goldberg machines?
Yeah, a Rube Goldberg machine. So when the campaign starts, it's the start of a Rube Goldberg, and you guys are the marble. And as you go through, sometimes you start a row of dominoes that go off out of sight. And I love it because in my mind, I'm like, I know what's going on over there, and I can't wait for the payoff, which comes sessions and sessions and sessions later, where it's like, oh, when will they end up back at Castle Corbeau? And what will have transpired there in the short, like in this long absence? And like they dropped a lantern off the side of the tower. What's going on with that lantern? You know, there are these moments too. They're like, oh, they chased somebody out of there who was doing research on books, and they stole those books in his backpack. Like, what's going on with that individual? And like, when is that going to come and cash itself? You know, so like those feel really good and rewarding for me, even when they don't happen. And I think it's because I feel like they're happening for me in a weird way. Like I'm seeing the world and enjoying the creation of it unfolding. So I don't feel, I don't know. I don't feel so, sometimes, like I said, I guess to wrap this up, sometimes I feel precious about certain things and I'll want to try to change them or edit them or move them so they can be in front of you at some point in the future. And other times I'm like, I'm happy to let them just kind of cook on the side burner until I know at some point it'll come back up. Even if it's a traveler mentioning something later, you know, that gets exciting.
Super cool.
Cool. All right, guys, that's it for this episode of the Heroic Roundtable. Thanks for hanging out with us. Remember to submit your questions, and we might just feature it in the next episode. If you're enjoying the adventure, don't forget to land a sneak attack on that subscribe button or roll your intimidate to leave a review. It really helps the show more than you know. Until then, remember to live heroic and die historic.